Come on, let's go. Been around that world, man. Born in Germany and seen a lot, but I'd rather not them hard knocks of building blocks.
Welcome to the JV Impacts Podcast, where we talk about motivation, health, and life. I'm your host, John Boskus, the self-published author of the You Must Believe Way of Life. And today, I'm so honored and excited to have a special guest, international superstar with 20,000 followers on his Instagram. And I've been following him on his weight loss journey down from 700 pounds. He's a true inspiration to people all over the United States and all over the country. And I'm honored to have him on our podcast today. So I'm talking about Thatbigguy700. I call him an international superstar because I see the post, I see all the likes and all the engagement he has on his Instagram, and I know by watching what he's been doing, he's making a huge impact on people's lives. So I'm talking about Maynard DeLeon. He's out of Chicago, Illinois, and I just want to introduce him. So Maynard, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, you flatter me, sir. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, my name is Maynard DeLeon. I am from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised, and well, yeah, I've been on my journey for almost, I say, a year and 4 months. I could be off a week or two, but
awesome. So tell us about, so as you talked about the journey, so you started at 700 pounds. You know, what was the shift and what was the decision making to say, okay, I'm going to start this weight loss journey? So I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but tell the world, you know, what was it that shifted in you? What was the deciding factor to say, you know, I'm going to go on this weight loss journey?
Honestly, for me, it was I consider it hitting rock bottom. About a year ago, you know, I got hit with a leg infection that sent me to the hospital. You know, for 10 days, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do nothing. So for 10 days, I was just laying in the bed, and all I could do was look at myself, you know, in the mirror, you know, in the room that they had me in. So for 10 days straight, it was just going through my head to the point where I had a mental breakdown, a mental and emotional breakdown. Then that's when I hit my rock bottom. That's when I hit my enough was enough. And I am so grateful for, you know, for hitting that, you know, bottom. I'm so grateful for being at rock bottom because, you know, when you're in rock bottom, everything becomes clear. There's no ifs or buts about it. You know, it was either change my lifestyle now so I can have a future or just keep going and die at an early age of 30.
So what was it? So you said you hit rock bottom, and so what was the first decision? So did you get out of the hospital, or what was next? I mean, was it the release from the hospital and you started to get a plan together? Like, how did you
Actually, it was in the hospital that I started changing up my diet, the way I ate. I started telling the nurses who brought in the food was if they had any healthier choices and all that. So they started bringing me all the chicken, the fish, and all that, you know, instead of the stuff I didn't need. And even when I got out the hospital, I still had maybe 3 to 4 months of recovery. So I started off real slow, like I started off by just walking, you know, laps in my apartment, you know, back and forth, back and forth.
Good for you, man. Good for you. And when you first got out of the hospital, I mean, what was the, like, when you started doing the walks and stuff, like, what was your motivation? How did you keep yourself motivated? I mean, you know, you're at 700 pounds, and did you set a specific goal? Was there a weight loss goal, or did you just say, hey, I'm just going to get started?
My weight loss goal was actually 300 pounds, and even then I would still be obese, but it would not be as obese that I am right now. So one of the things I always talk about is like your big why, which is like, you know, why you're doing this, or like, you know, what's the reason. So I would always remind me, like, almost on a daily basis, you know, every few hours, you know, why I'm doing this, you know, why I have to lose this weight. I always reminded myself that, you know, this is a priority. Everything else around me, that comes second. My health has got to be, you know, number one right now because I've neglected it for so long. So
yeah, that's powerful. You talked about your why. We talk about that a lot at JV Impacts. If your why doesn't make you cry, get a different why. So what is your why? What is your why, Maynard? So what is it that drives you? What is it that pushes you? And what is it that got you to start walking and start moving and take this weight loss journey?
my biggest why is I actually feel like I've wasted the first half of my life because of my obesity. I've always been big. I've never been small. So I don't know how it feels to be a small, or not even small. I don't even know how it's to be, you know, healthy. So, you know, my biggest why is I actually just want to live life.
That's awesome.
Like for me, the weight loss isn't the final step. For me, the weight loss is the first step in order to get my life back.
That makes sense. That's awesome. So you've always had a problem with obesity your whole life, and that's powerful. That you said it's basically just getting your life back and feeling what it feels like to be healthy. I think a lot of people think it's just about the weight. That's what impressed me when I talked to you before we did the interview was this isn't just about a weight loss goal. That's what impressed me. This is about a lifestyle change and really motivating people. Now, you took a big step, right? So you get out of the hospital, you get home, you start walking. What made you decide to put it out to the world?
I've always heard be careful what you put online because as soon as it's on the internet, you can never get it back. So I felt like, well, if I do it on Instagram, it's like holding myself accountable for my own actions.
Awesome.
And it was amazing. At first, it was just me holding myself accountable, but the page blew up so quick and so fast, and I don't know how it happened. So it came from the point of me holding myself accountable to other people, at the same time holding me accountable too. It's like the support was just amazing, and I loved it. Right after start, I loved the support that I got from the
That's
people on
awesome.
Instagram and all that.
So even though you're getting all this encouragement, yeah, I call you the Instagram superstar. I mean, your likes and your engagement is through the roof. Your followers keep going up. I found you through Possible Pat, which is fantastic weight loss journey, and so that
I love
continues.
Possible
He's
Pat.
he's he's here in
He's
Arizona.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Working to get him on the podcast as well. But you're a true inspiration. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, I know you have all the encouragement coming in, but have you hit roadblocks? I mean, have you hit these mental, roadblocks where it's like, oh gosh, I can't continue to do this? And if you did, how did you get through that, or how do you navigate through that? Because there's people listening right now, and there's people on the podcast all over the world, all over the United States that are in the position you're in. Maybe they're overweight, maybe they feel it's hopeless. And how do you help them get through those roadblocks, or have you hit roadblocks on your weight loss journey? And how do you get through those?
I hit them all the time, like all the time. Matter of fact, I hit one today.
Tell me
Um,
about it.
I just wasn't feeling it. I'm just getting over a cold and all that, so my body's still recovering from it. So my body, it doesn't feel energized. It doesn't have that energy where what I had before the cold or anything. So I hit roadblocks all the time, like all the time. And I always tell people, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. All that matters is you get back up. And that's my mentality. I may fall six, seven, eight, nine times. I'm always gonna get back up.
That's
As
awesome.
long as you get back up, you can never be beat. And
Yeah,
I'm a strong believer in that.
that's amazing. That it's so true, right? And I think what people think, and that this is powerful for people to listen to on the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, is that what he said was, I think a lot of people, they hit a roadblock and they like, it's over, right? It's over. I'm not going to be able to do this. But what you're telling me is, you just got to get back up. You just got to keep on pushing, keep on going. You're going to have the colds, right? You're going to have the flu that hits you. You're going to have financial issues. You're going to have maybe you wake up late to not do your workout, things like that. But you just got to keep up, getting up one more time. So I want to talk a little bit about Instagram. So what's some of the biggest inspiration you've seen out there? Is there anybody that's been really inspirational to you, and who's somebody that you feel that you're inspiring?
Man, Instagram is crazy right now. Like I said, my page blew up in a very, short amount of time. So, it took me a while to process everything. And, like, honestly, like, everybody like I see on Instagram who writes me, who posts comments or whatever it may be, like when I mean you guys are my motivation, I literally mean you guys. You guys motivate me. I
Awesome.
see people putting in the work. There's days where like I hit those roadblocks that we talk about,
Yeah.
and I get online and I see these people putting in this work, and it's like, man, what kind of hypocrite would I be if I keep promoting, this certain lifestyle when I'm not doing it, no. So, watching the people work out, watching the people go through it, not only by themselves, but as a community, like that drives me. And I love that. I love the fact that we can kind of feed off of each other's
Yeah.
determination or drive. And, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, what I love about it, social media can be a negative thing, right? And what I see is happening with people like you, and inspirational people like you, is you're bringing so much positivity and hope to people. So now, say someone is in your position, right? And so what is the first steps they should take? Like, so if they finally hit that rock bottom, or whatever decision they make to say, you know what, it's time to lose weight, it's time to go on this journey. What are the steps you took to build up into being in the gym? I see you met with the medicine ball, and I see you flipping tires. And so how did you go from just walking few steps to now in the gym? What did it look like, the progression?
Man, like, don't be fooled, people. None of this shit happened overnight
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like I said, I started walking off, walking in my apartment, few laps. Then, I started going around my neighborhood, and then that neighborhood turned into a bigger neighborhood, and 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. I think that the longest I have actually walked is 4 miles, and it took time, you gotta understand, you gotta have patience. This will not happen overnight. And if you think it's gonna happen overnight, I promise you, you're gonna hit a wall hard. So I'm not a patient person whatsoever. So this is a learning process for me. So I'm learning as I'm going. So all I can say is be patient with it. If you're serious about making a change, the first thing I recommend cleaning out your fridge, your pantry of all the BS you don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. Powerful.
And
Yeah, so you talked about number one, thank you for being real with people. I think that's the key, is being transparent, right? People often see the success, right? They see someone at the end of success. They don't see the hours and hours of countless effort and push that they put in to get there, right? So what you're sharing with
right,
people is to be patient, man. Be patient. You're going to hit roadblocks. You just got to start moving, which is absolutely phenomenal. Another bit of advice I heard you say out there: first of all, clean out your fridge, right? I feel the same way.
yeah.
Me and my wife right now, we're on our 8-week ketosis plan. We literally clean out all the carbohydrates in our house, because if it's there, you're tempted, right? And you're just putting some roadblocks in front of yourself, right?
Right, exactly. It's like, why you gotta do that to yourself? It's like, you're setting yourself up for failure the way I see it.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your nutrition plan. How did that evolve? So what did you start eating first? How did you learn about nutrition, and how did that evolve?
Oh man, I knew crap about nutrition when I first started off, and like the thing is, this isn't my first attempt trying to lose the weight.
Okay.
I've actually tried plenty of times, and over the years, you learn about stuff, but you don't use it. And now that I am trying to lose the weight, like everything that I learned, everything that I really saw, everything that I started using now, and man, it's like you said. So we're living in a great time. Social media, you can go
Yeah,
find support. We got Google, we got YouTube. Anything I didn't learn about nutrition, I looked up.
that's awesome.
But like the first thing, I cut out all the man-made foods, like everything that was man-made. Nah, I got to get rid of that. You have to get rid of that because that food is addicting. It is addicting.
So do you just eat whole foods now? Is that just whole natural foods?
Pretty much. My way is if I don't cook it or I don't see it being cooked, and I don't really like eating it, just so I know what's going in my body.
That's fantastic.
And I know like the number one thing I hear is like, oh, well, I don't got time to be cooking like that, or I don't got time. Well, you can cook the day before and have it ready. And there are so many options that you can have to get your foods that you need in. That if you find an excuse for each one of them, it's not really that you can't get the foods in. It's just that you don't want it bad enough.
No,
There's always a way. Always a way. You just gotta find it.
you just got to find the way, right? Meal prepping, you got to be prepared. And that's one big key, too, is preparation. Like you said, if you're not prepared for the day, you get into your busy day. Say you have a cold, right? You wake up late, you have a cold, you're frustrated. Convenience, right? McDonald's is there,
Right.
Burger King, everything's so easy out there. And then you're talking about meal prepping. So what does it look like to meal prep? How long does it take you to meal prep your meals? Do you make all your meals the day before, a couple days before?
I won't lie to you. My meal prepping game is I'm I'm getting there.
Okay.
But usually what I do is I do at least 2 to 3 days prior.
Okay.
It's just so I can have the foods, or even if I don't have foods to eat, I know where I'm gonna get my foods at, or what I'm gonna eat, or where I can cook. I'm always. It's funny because I'm always thinking about food, and I'm always eating now. Like I eat more now than I did when I was, not trying to lose weight.
That's awesome.
But the difference is I started feeding my body the right stuff instead of the crappy stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Awesome. So I want to really look in the camera right now. Listen to what he's saying, guys. If you're listening on the podcast, he just said he's eating more often than he ate before, because me and my wife were talking about this just today, the HCG diet, where they're putting people on 500 calories to try to survive, to lose weight. But it's
What?
crazy. But I wanted you to repeat that part, is that he said, I'll repeat this, guys. He said he's eating more food than he did. It's the different types of food that you're eating. Like I eat 2,300 calories a day. I eat a ton of food every day. That's a lot of food, but
Right?
it's clean food,
And it's
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
though.
Yeah, it tastes fantastic. I just had some tuna with some organic mayonnaise. I mean, it tasted delicious, man. So I think a lot of people think that healthy eating is boring, but it can be fun. It can be exciting. So tell me what's some of your favorite healthy foods that you like?
Chicken. See, even before the weight loss journey, I've always loved chicken. So chicken is my food of choice, no matter what it is, no matter what vegetables I'm having. I want to have chicken, and I gotta give it to other people. Like I kind of had an unfair advantage when it comes to cooking and preparing meals because I grew up in a house full of people that cooked. I grew up in, people who worked at restaurants. I knew about seasonings and all this and that. So when it was my turn to start cooking, I just started experimenting.
That's awesome.
Like just experiment. Because you don't know what you like if you
Yeah,
haven't tried it yet. So just experiment. You know.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
matter of fact, I actually have one thing I don't want to share.
Yeah, please.
It was actually talking about the roadblocks that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
Um, it's crazy when you start feeding your body the foods that it really needs, that it gets to a point where it starts what's it called, rejecting the foods that it doesn't need. About 2 weeks ago, I was home, I was tired, I didn't want to do nothing, so the cousin hit me up, it's like, hey, you want some food? I'm like, you know what? Yeah, what are you getting? He's like, you got some food, you got some chicken, you got some. I wasn't supposed to eat it. Like I said, we all hit those roadblocks, but I couldn't keep it down. Like
wow.
I couldn't keep it. I couldn't keep it. Like it was not real. It's not real food. It's processed BS. So I got felt sick, and I had to get rid of it.
Yeah,
It's like your body knows what it needs, and it will tell you what it needs, and it will tell you what it doesn't need.
yeah, and you
You
said
just gotta
too.
listen.
Yeah, when we did the pre-interview, you talked about your body being a machine, and you're right. When you start eating those healthy foods, so I do ketosis all week, and I do a carb refeed on Saturdays, and we do a junk
Right.
a junk carb refeed, and it's crazy how I feel on Sunday. I literally feel I don't drink alcohol, but I literally felt like when I used to back in the days, my old days, when I partied all night, I feel hungover and I feel like I got hit by a bus because I put donuts and I put cake and I put pizza in my system, and
Oh,
it literally feels like I'm hungover. And so if the food was good for you, then why the heck would I feel like I drank a whole bottle of tequila the night before, right? So
right.
it just doesn't make any sense, and but it's hard, like you said, it's you got to get your body to that point where it understands what foods to eat, and so it takes a while. Like talk about that. How long did it take for your body to get used to that?
Man. I think like well, I like feeding off of what you said. I feel like one of the things that people feel is the hardest thing to lose weight is actually working out. When it's not, the working out is the easier part. Like when you see me flipping tires, when you see me throwing medicine, I'm having fun. The work is when you're in the kitchen, when you're like, man, a slice of pizza sounds awesome, but I know it's not good. And it's like you got to start making those choices. Not only do you got to start making those choices, you got to be conscious about making those choices because when you make a habit of something, when you make it a habit of reaching in the pantry for a Twinkie, you don't think about it. You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to break that habit and you got to make new habits. Instead of reaching for that Twinkie, reach for an apple. Reach for whatever vegetable it's near you. You got to train your mind. To like want this stuff. And you're not gonna
Yeah.
want it at first.
Sure. How did you do that though? Like how did you, I mean, it's got to be hard, man. I mean, it's got to be hard. So you lived your life like this for, you said, the first half of your life. You wanted to make this change. I mean, how long did it change, and how long did it take to create a habit? And then how did you do it? I mean, so you're going into the pantry and there's a Twinkie and an apple. Like, how did you mentally do it to get yourself through it? Because I'm sure there was roadblocks. Like you said, you've tried other diet programs. Was it the why? Was it the fact that you ended up in the hospital? Was it because the why was super strong this time? What was it?
Yes,
Okay.
it was because, like I said, I hit that rock bottom. I know what it felt like, and it was horrible. It was honestly, it was the most horrible feeling I've ever felt. So before I reached for the Twinkie, I associated that emotional pain, that even that physical pain from my leg, with the Twinkie. So it's like when I think about Twinkie now, it's like Nah.
Yeah.
It's like I mixed it with something bad to the point where I don't want it. You know, it's associated with something bad, so I don't want it. So that's the way I see with all fast food now. It's like, nah, I'm okay.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit about the hospital? I mean, what
You
happened?
know,
Was
and
was
is it really worth it? Like,
You're breaking up just a little bit.
well, all right,
Oh,
can you hear me now?
yeah, I got you. Much better. There we go. Awesome.
Uh, well, I had a leg infection where it escalated so quickly over like a period of 2 days. I was actually in Ohio for my nephew's graduation party, which I didn't even get to go to because I had a fever. That's where everything started. The human body works in crazy ways. Like I got it for the infection actually from my throat. I had a throat infection. I forgot what's
Mm.
it called,
Strep throat.
strep throat. I
Hmm.
did not know that can get into your blood system and that can really mess you up. So I found out that, and it wasn't fun whatsoever. It was crazy because I was there and they told me, yeah, you have a leg infection. You'll be all right. Just take antibiotics. I was like, all right, cool, we good. Oh, no, there's nothing to worry about. I'm happy. I'm like smiling. 20 minutes later, this lady walks in. She's like, all right, we got to get you ready for operation. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, we got to get you ready for operation. We were looking through your tests, your blood samples, and like I forgot there was a certain name. They used a big doctor name. I'm sorry,
That's
I
okay.
don't know much of the terminologies, and yeah, we have to make sure that the infection hasn't made it. You know, how far has it made it in through your leg? Has it just got in, parts of your muscle, your meat? If it has, we got to cut it out. Has it got into your bone? If it's got into your bone, we got to cut it out. He's like, what do you mean you got to cut it out? He's like, yeah, it can like we can't let the infection go in through your vascular system, or what's it called,
Cardiovascular, maybe or no?
through your bloodstream,
Yeah.
because it may have a chance that it can travel all the way to your heart, and when that happens, you're done for. There's no, we can't do nothing. So
Wow.
it's like if we have to, we're gonna have to cut your leg off. And I'm like, hold on, in the span of 20 minutes, I came from being happy and relieved to you may cut my leg off, and I'm like scared out of my mind. And like after like that, not even 10 minutes later, they had me in the operation room, like putting me under. And luckily, thank God, or whoever was watching over me, I made it out of alive. I kept my leg, and as soon as I could start walking, I told myself, you know what? As soon as I'm start to walk, I'm gonna keep on going. Like it was to the point where the nurses had to tell me, you need to slow down. You're not gonna open your stitches.
Wow, that's
So
powerful. So that's powerful. So you talked about that piece, and then the basically the traumatic experience of what you went from, like within 20 minutes, going from it's going to be okay to now going into operation, really understanding that, oh my gosh, what's about to happen? It could be life or death. What was this, something that was caused by the obesity, or is this just from the infection in your throat, or what was it caused by the obesity, or did it have something to do with it?
Uh, my bad. I apologize. Sorry, moved a bit. No, actually, it was happening because it was just something like something the body does. But the hardest part was actually the recovery because of my obesity.
Mm.
Um, the stitches took a while to heal because my skin was just pulling on them. So it like when they took my stitches off, I literally had like decent sized holes inside through my through my skin and through my the meat in my leg because of my obesity, my leg was stretching so much. I was lucky that the stitches didn't rip.
Wow,
Uh,
wow, that's
yeah,
so now what's next for you? Well, let's talk about this. So you were at 700 pounds. Where are you at now currently?
I am at 560, 63, I believe. I'm not sure. It's a total of 138 pounds lost.
Nice, nice. And that was in a year, right? A year span, a year and 3 months, around there.
Yes.
Awesome. So you said there's no really weight loss goal. It's just to get healthy and feel good. You said about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Uh,
And now it's not even that. Now it's even gotten down lower to 200 pounds actually.
you can do it. That's
So
awesome.
it's
That's
like
So let's talk about
You know.
encouragement. Let's talk about encouragement. We got people listening all over the world, all over the country, all different countries, excuse me. So what encouragement do you have for people that maybe feel like they're in a hopeless situation, that they're addicted to food? I mean, food is an addiction. That's what people don't realize. It's just as bad as cocaine. It's just as bad as heroin. It is an addiction, right? Sugar is an addiction. It's a relationship with food, and you have to break up with that food. You have to. It's just like breaking up with a marriage or your spouse or partner. When you break up, there's steps that you go through to get to success. But what would you say to encourage people that are in this situation that they feel hopeless?
Oh well, first of all, I completely agree. I believe that food is an addiction. We use it to cope, and when we don't have that device to cope, it becomes harder. But if I could give just one piece of advice, it would be how bad do you really want it? I mean, I know that may seem like, well, what do you mean how bad do I really want it? Like I really want it. It's like no, like how bad do you really want this? Like it it's gonna take time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't I'm I've been lied to on my weight loss journey,
Yeah,
so I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah,
It's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take a lots and lots of hard work.
yeah,
There's gonna be times where you just want to call it quits, and man, it's journey. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie. It's a hard thing to go through, physically and emotionally, but it's worth it. Like, oh my God, is it worth it? Like the years that you're gonna get back, the happiness, that you're gonna get, it definitely outweighs everything else. So if you're sitting there hearing this, just ask yourself, like, how bad do you want this?
how bad do you want it? How bad
How
do you want it?
bad do you want it?
Yeah, I like that. How bad do you want it? And then what's your why, right? Why are you doing this? Like, is it for health? Is it for your grandkids? Is it so you can live a longer life? I mean, I think that's really important
Right.
too. And then you said something that's powerful. We need authenticity, especially in social media, that, guys, this isn't going to be an easy road, right? It's going to take breaking up with food, changing your relationship with food, right? You may have to change your circle of friends, right? If they're not encouraging you and lifting you up and helping you on this weight loss journey, sometimes we call it like, cutting off the fat. You got to trim the fat around your friends, because it's like some won't encourage you, right? Have you ran into those roadblocks before where people are
Oh,
trying to put food in your face and not helping you with the journey and saying, "Hey, Maynard, let's go eat dinner."
yes.
So tell me a little bit about that. And you're not saying anybody specific, but is there any, I call them dream killers out there trying to stop you on your journey?
Uh, yeah, actually, I have, and I know for me, and not only for me, but for a lot of people out there, those biggest people are your own family.
Mm,
Like that, and I'm not saying you should cut off your family. I mean, like no, family's family no matter what. But it's like you have to understand this is your journey.
mm,
This is your why. This is you. Like you have to make a statement where it's like, look, man, this is what I'm doing. This is not a joke. It's not a hobby. This is what I'm doing. This is who I am. Now, if you can rock with that, if you can accept that, man, we could be friends. We can be best friends. But if you're gonna keep on trying to, you know, set roadblocks for me here and there, or not even help me or push me in any certain way, I mean, hey, that's cool too. We're still friends and all that, but I have to distance myself away from you, away from that attitude, away from that negativity, and that may sound selfish, and it is, but we have to be selfish on this journey. We
mm.
have to care about each other. Like one of the things that I've always said, you gotta learn to love yourself.
Yes.
And just because you love yourself doesn't mean that you can't love nobody else.
Yeah.
It just means that you're willing to do whatever it takes to see yourself, happier or in a different place in the future.
Yeah, that's amazing. So oh, you said something so powerful. Number one, you have to love yourself. Number two, you talked about the fact that maybe it's a little bit selfish, but I think it's the opposite too. Maybe the other person's being selfish and not supporting you on that journey, right? And maybe you have to separate yourself. But like you said, you don't have to separate the friendship, but just know that you need to distance yourself a little bit because this is your journey and this is what you're going on. If they're not going to support you on that, it's okay to separate yourself because the true people that are going to love you and care for you are going to support you on that journey. So, a couple things that I've learned from you throughout this podcast. We're going to ask you a few other questions, but number one, you got to love yourself. Number two, it's going to be a long, hard journey. It's not going to be easy, right? Number three, you got to really identify what your why is. And number four, you got to surround yourself with people that will support you on this journey, loving people that are going to lift you up. And number five, make sure you're authentic on Instagram. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, hey, man, but I wanted to ask you a few other questions. So talk to us about Chicago. So where exactly do you live in Chicago? How can people get a hold of you? I know you're on Instagram, YouTube, but give us a little shout out.
Let's see, Chicago. Chicago's amazing. That's me being biased. I love my city. I love it. I grew up here, and I've been to Texas, Ohio, Indiana. Now I've been to Mexico. I've been all over Mexico.
Yeah.
And I always end up leaving Chicago, but I always end up coming back. Why? It's home. It's, I was born and raised here. I'm a South Sider,
That's awesome.
I love Chicago. And if you guys are ever in Chicago, man, hit me up. We can definitely work out, Like, it's funny. I've had people come. Like, I actually had a friend come all the way from New Zealand to meet me at the gym. It's like, hey, you want to work out, hit me up. I won't say no. I love a workout, and I love meeting new people. As for, like, getting in touch with me, well, it's like you can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything at Thatbigguy700, So, Thatbigguy700, don't matter.
So do you do any type of, oh, I think I lost you. Can you hear me? I think we lost connection. Hey, what's up, buddy? You back?
Apology, man. I don't know what happened. I think my Wi-Fi went down for a little bit. I apologize.
No worries. I got you back. Well, hey, I was just telling people, like, as we lost connection, that they can find you at Thatbigguy700 and Instagram. You said Facebook. Is YouTube the same thing?
Yes, that big.
So YouTube, same connection. Well, I really, really want to say that I appreciate you. It's been awesome following your journey, and JB Impacts is going to watch you all the way, man. So I'm really, really excited. And when I'm in Chicago for an event, I'm going to come do a workout with you, my friend.
Oh, most definitely. And again, thank you again. You guys are actually, my first podcast, so this was an honor. That was awesome. Thank you very much for this opportunity and all that.
My pleasure, man. We appreciate you. And everybody, this will be live on Friday on YouTube and the JB Impacts podcast. So we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Thank you again, man. Thank you again.
Talk to you soon.
Much
Bye.
love.
Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
Come on, let's go. Been around that world, man. Born in Germany and seen a lot, but I'd rather not them hard knocks of building blocks.